talks to the people all night long, chatting and a-gabbing and a-singing her song. All the divas down on Rainbow Street love to hear Toni go tweet, tweet, tweet. Talking Toni. Tweet, tweet, Talking Toni. Tweet, whoa, Talking Toni really gonna talk tonight. Hello, you're listening to Talking Toni on Strong Island Radio. I'm your host, Toni Holmperm, the singing diva of Long Island. Thank you for joining us as I get to chat with some of the many fabulous people right here on Long Island. And joining me today is Mr. Ed Gibney, my voice teacher.
Hi, Toni.
Hi.
How are you?
Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So I usually refer to my husband, because he does the wigs and the styling, as the man behind the woman. And I guess we would have to say you're the man behind the voice behind the man behind the woman, I guess. We could describe you as that.
Sure, let's go with that. It's like Inception.
So yes, you have been instrumental in helping me hone my singing abilities, to improve on them, and learn new material and new techniques, and just all around make myself a better singer, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I see my role as kind of like a facilitator. Mm-hmm. You do all the work.
True.
I'll point you in the direction that I feel like you need to go, and then you take it where you want to take it.
Absolutely. And I was looking back, and it's actually because we started doing this January of 2016, I believe, is when we had our first lesson. So this is our 4-year 4-year anniversary. We've been working together for 4 years. I hadn't realized that it had been that long.
That's a long time.
It really is. Now, when we first started, I was in the Long Island Gay Men's Chorus, and I approached you to help me with doing my choral work.
Yeah,
and it ended up taking quite a different turn.
Yeah,
as my I guess my career as Toni Holmperm just sort of took off, becoming a solo performer.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that, I want to talk about you and get to know you. Now, you come from a musical family. Am I correct?
I do. Yeah, we dabble a little bit.
They dabble. I know your brother is a musician. An
my
artist.
brother's a recording artist. My dad plays keyboards in a band. He's been doing that for about 40 years. Mm-hmm. My sister sings. Mm-hmm. My mom has zero musical ability.
But does she like music?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't have a
she's
choice.
A music lover. Oh, she has no choice.
She doesn't have a choice.
You have no choice, Mom.
Yeah. No. But yeah, it's music has been a core element of the house I grew up in since I started walking, started talking. It's always been a part of my life.
But now, I think I remember telling me that you didn't start learning how to play piano until you got into college.
Yeah, I was in college.
Did you play any musical instruments as a child?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was a drummer from about age 6 years old until I'd say about 20-ish. Mm-hmm. I had a set. That was my birthday present on my 6th birthday. Was a full-size drum set.
That must have really driven Mom mad.
No, it's
that practicing of the drums.
It was always encouraged.
Okay, well that's good.
To make music. Mm-hmm. So, we had a full music room in the house and everything. So that's where all the instruments kind of hung out. And when you wanted to play, you just went in there.
You went in the music room. Okay.
Throw the radio on and just play until I got blisters on my hands. It was a good time.
And now your brother and sister, did they play musical instruments?
My brother plays guitar.
He plays guitar.
My sister doesn't, that I know of, play anything. She might have picked something up recently, but I don't.
Okay, we don't know. We'll find out at some point.
Yeah,
but she loves to sing too.
Yeah. Everybody just kind of like moths to a flame. We just kind of flock toward wherever the music is.
And did you sing a lot as a kid?
Never in front of my family, but in school.
In school. Well, what about when the parents came to see the shows?
That concerts. When it was more than just me, I was very shy.
Okay.
Very shy as a kid. I didn't start performing solo until right near the end of high school.
Oh.
And I surprised a lot of people when I said I was going to be pursuing music as a career in college and start,
What did they think you were going to pursue?
I have no idea. I haven't the slightest, but I was always, so heavily involved in music in my private time that I think a lot of my, teachers and mentors in school caught them off guard. So I like what I do.
And you do
and that helps.
You do it very well. So now when you were in college, I know you were involved in a lot of barbershop quartet
I did
work.
A lot of ensembles. I did barbershop quartets. Those were a lot of fun. I did jazz ensembles. I did choral ensembles. I did a lot of solo performing with big bands and, anything that I could get my hands on. I wanted to explore every musical avenue that I could with my voice. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, you've certainly, that background, I think, has certainly helped me a lot. You coming from that, so has been I know it's helped to, I'm sure has given you a lot of experience in helping me because it certainly has.
Yeah, everything that I've worked with you on, I've been taught at some point.
See?
It's not pulled out of a book. It's there's no YouTube video where you can learn how to teach people. I'm sure there is, but
there is for my face, not for my voice.
But it's all things that I've experienced, things that have worked. And sometimes things that don't work for me might work for other people. So I try to retain as much as I can.
What I love that you do is when we're working on a piece, and if I'm having a problem getting like an area, you'll be like, you'll reference another song, like when we were working on Over the Rainbow, and the one part you said was like Jaws. The music of Jaws.
So there's in music there's the this word intervals. Intervals are how we measure the steps between two different notes.
Right.
And with certain intervals, they can sound like very well-known songs.
Exactly.
Like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and Jaws and the chimes from NBC. It's recognizable things that if you're having difficulty with a particular set of notes, you reference those famous intervals, and all of a sudden those things become a little bit easier
then it's like,
reproduce.
Oh, that's what it's like. That's what it's like. I know you've helped me with that many, many times. And sometimes we're working on something, and you'll be like, oh, what song can I reference to help you with that? And it always does.
Keeps me on my toes too.
Yes, it does keep you on your toes. So. Which I am very appreciative of, believe me.
Yeah.
So, and we have to also mention you. Now, was it with one of these ensembles that you performed at Carnegie Hall?
Yes. During my college years, I performed with an ensemble at Carnegie Hall. I performed with two ensembles at Lincoln Center. Incredible experiences. Even as a full. As an ensemble, you would think that you lose a little bit by not having that solo experience on those stages.
Right.
But when you're up there knowing that you are going to be the performer, regardless of how many people are with you, it's it's breathtaking, it's memorable, particularly Carnegie Hall, because you're standing on a stage that,
legends
the
have
world's most
performed on,
famous
yes.
performers historically have stood on. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I want to do it again.
I hope you do.
I'll probably have to pay for it this time.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I know from working with you when we first started, and I was in the Long Island Gay Men's Chorus. I was had that comfort of like performing with a group.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got on stage, it wasn't like I really didn't have stage fright or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I was part of the whole group. But when we first started working together, and actually it's funny because driving here on the radio, actually it wasn't the very first. The very first song that I performed that we worked on together came on the radio. Do you remember which song that was?
If I had to take a guess, because it was 4 years ago, I would say "Can't Help Falling in Love."
Almost. That was the second one.
Walking in Memphis.
That actually we rehearsed at our very first lesson, but I didn't perform that one first. The one that I performed.
Oh. I don't remember.
Oh, I stumped him.
I don't remember.
Billy Joel, "Just the Way You Are."
That's right.
That was.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we did.
Because
that
what
one.
happened
Yeah.
was when our first lesson, we started rehearsing Walking in Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happened was because I was going to be in a cabaret
Yes.
for the chorus and had to prepare a solo, and in between the first lesson, right after the first lesson, they changed the entire theme. It was supposed to be like country, and then all of a sudden I knew they changed the date, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, this is going to be Valentine's theme," and I was like, "Oh no!" And I still have the email. I just saw it because I was looking back through things, and I told you, I said, "Oh, they changed the theme. It's got to be Valentine's Day now. What can I do?" And I need two songs, and you suggested "Just the Way You Are" and "Can't Help Falling in Love."
Yeah.
So
It's coming back now.
it's all coming back now. Yes. Yeah. So it's funny because the song came on the radio, "Just the Way You Are," Billy Joel, and I was like, "Oh, that was the very first song I performed that we worked on together." And I was like scared witless about performing that. Even though I had performed with the chorus, I was just like, I had such stage fright. I was like, at the thought of getting out there in front of an audience with just one person, playing the piano accompanying me. And I was just like, oh, I was nervous. I was nervous.
I compare it to approaching any kind of like thrill ride or roller coaster. The line is worse than the ride itself.
Yes.
The more you build up before an event, you're going to feel all of those jitters, but the exhilaration as soon as you're finished is worth it.
Absolutely.
It's worth it.
Absolutely. And I remember after I did that first song, and it was just, and I was like, oh, I didn't die on stage. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. It was sort of like, oh, this felt good. Oh. And then I was like, I remember telling you, I realized if I had just relaxed a little bit more, breathed a little bit more, I would have had an even better experience and would have even probably had a better performance. And actually, I think it was only a couple of weeks ago. I pulled up
the video
of it. And we were listening to it. And I mean, and
that's fun. That's fun. It's a time capsule.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both were definitely able to hear, the improvement in my my singing since then. Yeah. Because wow, 4 years. I hadn't realized.
Yeah. 4 years and how many songs?
We have an entire
50?
book. I have a book plus of songs that
Yeah.
we've worked on.
Yeah, oh, my goodness. So many songs.
Yes. But I just want to talk about now your role as a voice teacher. You're also a piano teacher.
Yes.
So
the two usually go hand in hand. If you're going to teach voice, you're usually going to teach piano as well, to some degree. Yeah.
And as you've told me, most of your students are usually young adults, children.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
They're for the most part they're little guys, little guys and girls. But I've taught students in an age range from about 4 years old to about 93.
So I'm not the oldest student
No,
by a long shot.
no. I love adult students. Adult students can often pose a different set of challenges because once we're adults, we're set in our ways. It's hard to learn new things as an adult.
true.
It's hard to, particularly on piano, it's hard to use your fingers in that capacity as adults. So that's a very unique set of challenges. With kids, it's patience. That's it.
Yeah.
Follow what you know how to do as a teacher, and just be patient. It's fun. You gotta laugh. Gotta laugh.
Sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, but now I have to ask. I've got to be one of the most interesting students you've ever had.
Definitely a first. Definitely a first.
I don't think you have any other drag queen students.
I don't. I don't.
Do people ever ask you, like, have you ever gotten asked, like, oh, do you have any, like, really, crazy students? And have I ever come up in conversation?
Oh, I've talked about you a number of times. Always good things.
Thank you.
Always good things. Yeah, but I've talked about your performances, and it's from a point of pride. I'm very proud of
thank you.
how much you've been able to do with this.
Thank you.
Because we meet once a week for
Once
an
a
hour.
week. Yes.
Everything else is on you.
True. Very
Everything else
true.
is on. It's remarkable how much you've done. And I know it's been 4 years, but that's still not a lot of time.
No. And when we first started, Toni Homeperm did not exist.
No.
She was
No.
she was nowhere to be found.
No.
You were actually were instrumental in helping me create Toni Homeperm because we worked on the very first song.
That's right.
That
yeah.
I did together. I did the postmodern jukebox version of Royals.
Yes.
And that was the
Yeah.
very first Toni Homeperm song that I sang.
Didn't know it would become what it's become.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Well, what a great song. That was
I
a
know.
great song.
Yes, it was a yes. And I still pull that out every now and again.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you actually came to that drag cabaret.
I did.
Where I, appeared as Toni Homeperm
Yes.
for the very first time. And
Yeah.
you didn't recognize me at first.
I did not. I walked right past you. Right past you.
And I was like, Mr. Gibney, and you like turn around and you're like, who is this crazy woman?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's Toni.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was a fantastic performance.
Oh, thank you.
It's awesome to see you in your element. That's a lot of fun for me.
Yes.
And this might be a surprise, but I get infinitely more nervous watching my students perform than I do performing myself
Wow.
because it's control. I am type A. So if I am not in control of the setting, oh boy. Oh boy.
I sort of feel that way now that, because I'm also now, sort of producing little shows and things. And like when I'm in charge, it's like, is everybody sent their music and is everybody going to be on time?
Yeah.
And, what's the lineup going to be? And, and everything. And I'm always, running around like a chicken sans head trying to keep, everything in order. And it's not easy. It really isn't.
It's not, but at the end of the day, we're making art.
Yes, absolutely.
It's hard to beat that.
Absolutely.
It's hard to beat it.
Yes, it is.
It's fun.
I know it is a lot of fun. So I had some little notes here because I wanted to ask you some questions.
Go for it.
Of course,
Open book.
I promised you that I wouldn't ask you to solve the Middle Eastern crisis. So
I appreciate that.
I did have it on the list, but
That's
I'm
good.
gonna cross it off.
Yeah. Clueless.
Okay.
Clueless.
So these are not my right notes because you never got started doing drag.
I didn't.
That's obviously,
I didn't.
That's obviously not a question for you.
Nope.
Oh, your first time performing, singing. Where was that? Was it in school?
That singing, yeah, by myself.
By yourself.
Yeah, that was in school. I want to say it was 11th grade. In my chorus, we'd meet every day, and once a week we would do these little things where you could bring in songs from home on CD and pop the CD in and kind of sing along with it.
Oh.
And just kind of test your nerve, I guess, in a way. Get used to performing in front of people.
People, yes.
I had no intention of doing that, but one of my classmates had wanted to sing a song, and at the time we were all carrying CDs in our backpacks.
I can go back to 8-track.
I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't.
Don't read me. Don't
So
read me, people.
we had CDs in our backpacks, and this kid gets up and says, "I want to sing this song," and he didn't have it, and I had it, and let him borrow it. And he's like, "I don't know the words."
Oh.
So I feel like I was kind of set up.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, well, I know the words. I don't really like doing this, but it's now or never. So I went up and I did it, and there were a lot of oohs and ahs, and like, you know what? I kind of like the way that this feels. So I started doing it more.
We've discussed that when you're performing, singing,
Yeah.
and like you nail it and you knock it out of the park, and you're like,
Yeah.
when you finish, if I've been fortunate, a few times to like get a standing ovation.
Yeah.
That is just like such a rush.
There's no comparison.
There's like it's just like such a great feeling.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah,
just nothing like it in the world.
There is no comparison to knowing the impact that you had on someone,
Right.
even if it's just one person,
Right.
for that 3 minutes or that 3.5 minutes. There is no comparison. It's incredible.
Yes. Or as I've been fortunate enough to have happen is sometimes, you're doing, a really heartfelt performance and people cry.
Oh yeah,
I mean, not because you sound bad.
yeah, no,
But because they've been touched.
that's the bread and butter.
That is like,
That's it.
that is like if
You-
you if you
listen,
can-
if you're
you
sitting
can
in the
make
front
people
row-
if you can make people cry,
Yeah.
that's
If you don't get weepy, I'm not doing my job. It's the emotions are a part of it, and that's something that we try to pull out in the lessons as
yes,
well.
Yes.
You can teach a parrot how to repeat words to a song.
Correct.
You can teach a little monkey how to push notes on a keyboard. You can't really teach emotion.
No.
Emotion comes with time and confidence. And when you put yourself out there, you get your own feedback and you record yourself. Does this work? Does this not work? Tapping into that emotional nerve of any song,
Yeah.
that's the key.
Yeah.
Find the way to tap into the emotion, and you can sing whatever you want.
Yes. I think you also need, some experience too. Certain songs, at least in my opinion, like really, heartfelt, tear your heart out ballads, not really something a very young singer really can pull off. Just because I think, there's something about like the experience, the frame of reference of, having experienced that emotion.
Yeah.
That I think if you haven't experienced it, it's a little hard to, to sing and give that feeling out. That's just my opinion.
There's an element of life experience
Yeah.
that is helpful for delivering some songs. But that being said, I have seen and I've been able to teach some young students who are 10, 11, 12 years old, singing very emotional pieces and delivering it as if they've lived those lives. So, some songs work for some people and some songs
Very
don't
true.
work for
Very
some
true.
people. And we've kind of experienced that as well.
Yes, we
There's
have.
songs that are right within your wheelhouse.
That was actually one of the things I wanted to ask you.
Nice.
Songs you wish we never worked on. Can you
Ooh.
or something that you would say that we attempted and then we were just like, No, it doesn't. It doesn't really work. I can remember one.
Oh,
can remember
I know of
another
one.
Which one are you
It
thinking
was
of?
fairly recently.
Oh, which one?
Florence and the Machine.
Oh,
The dog days are over.
Dog days are
I had
over.
so much hope.
yes.
I had so much hope for that
I
song
know. But
because
you know,
I just pictured you kind of putting your spin on it and delivering it the way that you.
I haven't written that one off yet. It's funny because
Oh, yeah?
after we you brought me that music because we were thinking of working on new things,
Yeah.
and I had never ever heard the song ever before in my life.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, after you had given me the music and like I listened to it a little bit, all of a sudden I think I was actually at the gas station, and all of a sudden it came on, like
It's a sign.
and I was like, and it did start growing on me a little bit. So I'm gonna say we're gonna keep that one in the back pocket.
Yeah.
So
yeah. My thinking with that song, and I'm going to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, don't listen to her voice.
right.
Listen to the lyrics. Listen
Yes.
to the way that the music travels
Yes.
through. That's your style.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could fit into your style.
Okay. Yeah.
But we'll give it another go.
I remember one I wanted to work on with you, and we attempted it, and then we were just like, no. And
Which
that
one?
was Take Me to Church.
Yeah,
It was like
Yeah,
that one just didn't like.
that would not work for Tony Home.
It just didn't gel.
unless we change the key.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing that we do quite a bit. We'll
Yes.
play with the key that we're in, play with where the tone kind of sits, and that can have an impact on how we're able to deliver a song. So sometimes if you just need to bring it up a couple of steps,
True.
help pull some of the emotion out.
True.
You know, I don't like to say no
No,
to songs.
You don't.
Yeah. But, you know, well, if you want to give that one a shot again, we'll give that one a shot again.
We may. You know what I've been tinkering around with. I don't know what you'll think about Tony Holmperm doing this, but that song, what's his name, Louis Capaldi. You know, it's that real.
Yeah.
Somebody you loved.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got.
Yeah.
I know that look.
Yeah. He seems like a nice kid. Seems like a nice kid. But we'll talk about that. Lyrically, though, that song is very nice.
That's what I like. Yeah.
It's hard sometimes to separate the voice from the quality of the song, and his voice does not rub me the right way.
And speaking of artists whose voice rub you the wrong way,
Yeah.
I find that interesting that his rubs you the wrong way. Yeah. I know another singer who rubs you the wrong way is Adele.
Well, I like a lot of her stuff.
Okay.
I like a lot of her stuff. Technique-wise, there's some things that leave a little bit to be desired. Up from the technique standpoint, like she's very successful. I would not,
there's no denying
I would
that.
not take anything away from her.
No.
But pronunciation, you know, that's a big sticking point for me. Even if our songs are in English, pronounce things correctly.
Right.
Open your mouth, get the tone out. Don't close off too much. But I mean, she's got a huge voice.
Oh,
Huge
God,
voice.
yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my God, yes. Ooh. Her voice is incredible. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to ask you. Well, it's two things. I want you and be totally honest, because one thing you've always been with me is completely honest. Because
I
when
try
we
my
first
best.
started working on this, I told you, I said, be honest with me. I said, I don't want somebody to be blowing smoke up my what.
It's useless.
It's like
useless.
I need critical feedback. So what would you say are Tony's what would be my strength as a singer, and what would be my weakness as a singer? I can take it.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Here we go.
No, don't tell me. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Which
Go
would
ahead.
you prefer first? Strength or weakness?
Weakness.
Weakness.
Weakness. I know
Okay.
one. No, one I already know.
Well, what do you think it is?
Scooping.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know that.
That's something that a lot of people deal with.
Yes.
as we,
I'm not the only one.
there's a time and a place
And
to
just
slide up
Yes.
into notes or slide
yes.
down into notes.
For anyone listening who doesn't know what scooping is,
Yeah.
can you describe it in layman's terms?
When you scoop into a note, it gives the impression that you're unsure of what the pitch should be that we're singing.
Right.
And as a result, you slide up into the note until you feel like you found it, and then you kind of continue singing.
Right.
So we try to avoid that, but there are times.
Which I didn't even know I was doing when we first
Yeah.
started working together. And you said you're scooping, and I'm like, huh? Excuse me?
But I think at one time I called you a part-time employee at Baskin Robbins.
Yes, because I was scooping so much.
Scooping quite a bit.
Yes. Oh my Lord. Yes, the days of the scoop, which I still fall into sometimes. I have to.
And stylistically,
Yeah.
there are places where scoops are acceptable.
Yes. Once in a blue moon, we'll be working on something. You'll be like, that's a part you could actually scoop there and it would be okay.
Yeah.
And I was, thank God. One place where I can scoop.
It's a stylistic choice.
Yes.
Right? And stylistic choices, if you bludgeon them to death, meaning that you don't have any control over the choice that you're making, that loses its power. But if you're making a stylistic choice every once in a while in very specific spots, it enhances the performance.
Right.
So that's what we want to do. We want to capitalize on those stylistic things that you like to do, find songs where they fit into, and just kind of let you explore and find out where we're going to put them.
So would you rate that as my biggest weakness is the scooping or is there?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay.
It's there.
Okay. Not so bad. I knew it already.
We worked the most on that
Yes.
through the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was priority number one.
Yes.
Solve the scoop.
Solve the scooping, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what would you say would be my strength as a vocalist?
You have an incredible amount of confidence
Oh.
as a performer. Watching videos of you perform, watching you perform live. I can't teach that. I can't teach you how to be confident. Providing the tools is one thing, but you need to take that step forward, and you have. And I think that as a result, the kind of performer that you are now is because what you've done personally to move yourself forward as a performer. It's all on you, and that is your biggest strength.
Thank you. Well, it's taken a while to get there. It didn't happen right away. It was a lot of just sort of
Winging it.
pushing myself to do it.
Yeah.
Like, and when I think about how like going from my very first time performing in drag and singing live in front of an audience, well, not even that, very first time singing live in front of an audience by myself, not in drag, and I was like petrified. I was so scared. To now that I'm performing like hour-long shows at like these, rehab facilities and nursing facilities and doing an hour-long show of just singing and talking to people. I'm just like, I would never have imagined, 4 years ago that I would be, at that point now. I mean, it's just
fun though.
incredible. It is.
It's fun. It's quite a life.
Yes. Well, I think we're just going to take a quick break just for a minute. And then we will be right back with more Talking Toni and my very special guest, Mr. Ed Gibney, my voice teacher.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to Talking Toni. I'm Toni Holmper, your host, and joining me today, my very good friend and voice teacher, Mr. Ed Gibney. thank you for staying here for the second half of the show.
My pleasure.
So I wasn't letting him go anyway.
The doors are locked. I can't go anywhere.
He can't go. He can't go. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and I don't know, maybe you already answered it because I was going to ask you, what's the song you would most wish to work on with me? We already talked about the Florence and the Machine, but if what's something you see as like in the future? I'm curious. I have to know. I have to know if I have to prepare myself.
I would hesitate to call out one song.
Okay.
I'd focus more on a style, right? And that's something that we've done over the years is we've tried to touch up on lots of different styles. We've done pop music, contemporary. We've done, older styles, 50s, 60s, 70s. I think we've hit just about every decade.
Yeah. And, actually, because you've helped me with Let's Fall in Love. That's from the 20s. I mean, to modern stuff. So, I mean, we worked on...
Stylistically, I think my heart is really in jazz. And I would love to just, come in every Friday and just make some jazz. That's always fun for me.
Well, we've certainly done that. I mean,
yes, we have. We have. Can't do enough.
No, and like the big band stuff. Like just recently, we worked for quite a bit of time on Man with the Bag for my Christmas shows. Which was that was a big hit everywhere.
Good.
That I performed.
As it should be. It's a great song.
I mean, especially the end has that really big note that I can belt out, and everybody, people they love when you belt out a big note at the end.
Slam
really
on the gas.
they really do. And
let it out.
Yes, and that for me, as a singing drag queen, I find that a lot of times, especially if I'm performing with other drag queens that are lip syncing, all of a sudden when I come on and I'm singing live, all of a sudden it's like, a lot of times I find that and my husband will tell me the same thing. He's like, oh, you started singing live, and all of a sudden people they stop looking at their phone. They're like looking up. They're like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's like somebody's singing live, and
Yeah.
So it's I do feel that's my little secret weapon. Singing live.
200% agree. With the expectation, I'm not that well versed in drag performance.
True.
But
I've everything I've taught you.
I'm fresh.
I've been teaching you everything about drag.
Yeah, I mean the two, we do have to learn a lot from each other.
Yes,
because I'm not going to give you a song that I don't think is going to carry well on stage. That I don't think you can absolutely annihilate in a performance, because that's the goal.
Yes,
right. You've got to play to your crowd, so we need to find songs that work with your crowd.
Yes, there was a song you gave me recently, not the Florence and the Machine song, but there was another one that you wanted me to work on, and I was just like, oh no, I can't do this. Do you remember which that was?
No,
it was Amy Winehouse's Valerie.
Oh, that's such a good song.
I know, but
it's overdone.
That was the thing. As I told you, I said, because I go to a lot of karaoke. There's always some white girl, getting on stage, thinks she's Amy Winehouse, and doing Valerie, and it was just like, oh no, it's like that one. I was like, I respect you, Ed. I said, but I can't do this one. That's like the only one that I was just like, I cannot do this one. I'm sorry. I said, this one, I just can't do.
I mean, luckily there's no shortage.
Oh no,
of songs, and we've had several dozen. We were going to have several dozen more.
Yes. Well, I have
keep mixing it up.
Several dozen. I actually have the giant white binder.
Yeah.
That's been alphabetized.
Thank you.
With all although I think at this point I need another binder.
Yeah, probably.
Because I've got all this loose song, the loose sheet music that I've got to like organize, and it's like. I feel bad. Sometimes you're like, oh, let's work on this, and I'm like, oh no, I can't find it. I'm looking through.
To be fair, most of the time, the song that we're working on, you already have internalized. It's already memorized. It's there. We just want to
I try my
fiddle,
best.
and sometimes it's just fun to sing an old song, remembering what we have sung in the past. It's just a good time. Making music for music's sake.
Yes.
Not for any particular reason or purpose.
Yes.
Because music is fun to make.
Absolutely. And one thing that I've been amazed at myself is how many songs I've been able to internalize. I don't know what it is, but it's like I'm getting ready for a show, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what are the words to that again? What are the words to that again? Am I going to remember? But the music starts, and it's almost I don't know what happens, and it's just like I know the words, I know the parts, and it's just I don't know how that happens.
That happens
really
to a lot of
don't,
people.
But I guess
that's very common. It's muscle memory.
I guess
Once
so.
the music starts, you are in that zone. The horse blinders go on, and you focus and do your job.
Yes, it's like, for instance, "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked," which is probably a song I've done to death, but it works for me. It's a good song.
Yeah.
But I was even feeling at some point I was like, I gotta like take it out of rotation a little bit, because it's just like I've just performed it too much. But it the music comes on for that, and it's just like automatic
In it.
and it's like I just go.
Yep.
So, and actually a lot of the songs in I call them my rehab facility shows that are like in my playlist on my phone.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll refresh, especially like, I've got like two shows next week.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, I'll go through and I'll just practice, I just turn on the backing track and like,
Good.
and even though I haven't sung it for like quite a bit of time, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's there. It's there. And
It's like riding a bicycle for the first day of spring. Bike's been in the shed all winter, but when that first day of spring comes, it's like, oh yeah, no, I know how to ride a bike. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You put a song away for a little bit. Sometimes you need to put a song away for a little bit to rediscover how much you actually liked it in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's, recycle.
I know. Yes.
Recycle.
Reuse, recycle. what is that?
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Yes.
Please, Tony. Remember,
I'll
your
try to be
90s
more green with my songs.
Your 90s recycling slogans. Come on now.
If I remember the lyrics, it's good. If I can't remember the recycling thing, I'm fine. As long as I remember my lyrics. Although I've had once or twice, I did have like a little flub where I didn't remember, and I think I made something up, or I think I might have switched. Like I accidentally sang like from the second verse in the first verse, so I just was like, and and I know I did it, and but you're still singing and performing, and you can't let anybody know. And I just like, switched it. When I got to the second verse, I just sang what I was supposed to sing in the first verse. And
if that doesn't happen to you at some point, or if that doesn't happen to a performer at some point, I want to meet them.
Yeah,
because that is inevitable. Right. You're going to forget your words.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's. The
perfect. Lights are on. Everybody's looking at you. You're going to feel that pressure. That single bead of sweat comes down your forehead.
Yes.
Everybody experiences it. So the question is, and that's something else that we try to work on in the lessons, with a little bit of pressure added, how do we respond? What do we do when we forget the words?
Right.
And I feel like you've handled that very well.
I've tried.
Yeah. It's
I've
hard.
tried.
I think what gets lost is that a lot of people don't realize what their face looks like.
Right.
When they're in that moment, when they're performing, number one, but when they forget something. We shut off that sense that says, all right, don't look like you're lost in the woods.
Right.
You have to turn it on. You have to make it look like this is intended.
Right.
I meant to do this.
Yes, this is my version.
Exactly. It is your unique spin.
It's my version.
If you can do that well, you'll never have a bad performance, no matter what gets forgotten.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all planning and preparation. It looks like you're just kind of walking up there doing your thing. But there's a lot of planning and preparation that goes into it.
Oh my goodness.
And not just that, but learning how to plan and prepare. Because there are good ways and there are bad ways.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. So we've had, speaking of like, dealing with problems, like, contingency solutions. What are your suggestions, like, when your voice is not at its best? You've given me some very good tips, but for anybody listening that,
Warm up.
warm up.
Always warm up before you sing. Not warming up before you sing is like waking up at 5 a.m. And then running a marathon.
Right.
Right? You've got to stretch. If you do that each time before you sing, you will feel better when you're done. If you're waking up and you're just not having a nice day, the throat's hurting, things are uncomfortable. Two things: drink a lot of water and remember where you're breathing from. Right? If we're producing sound from the throat, things are going to hurt because it's like jump starting a car. It's too aggressive.
Right.
Breathe from down in your gut.
Breathe from down in the gut.
Let that
And
air
you're always
just kind of move.
you're always telling me, and
Yeah, stop shrugging your shoulders.
like when you breathe in, don't like don't do that.
Yeah. Relax. From about the collarbone up, you should feel like a bobblehead.
Yes.
Very loosey-goosey.
Now,
No
one,
stress,
of,
no
one, of,
tension.
one of the things that we have struggled with for 4 years is
boy.
in my warm up when our warm ups always start where I will sing. We start with
Yeah. It's
ooh or oh.
I'll work you through different vowel sounds.
Vowel sounds.
Just to kind of open up and
Right.
get some resonance in your voice.
Right.
Moves things nice and steadily so we're not being too aggressive with our early singing. And I'll take you through an ooh, an o, and an ah, and then an e.
Yes.
And we'll sing on one pitch
Yes.
for about 16
16
beats.
beats.
Then we'll move up by most of the time it's a whole step. Another 16 beats. And by the time we get to the
I don't know what it is, but whenever we get
nemesis.
to the I always run out of breath. And
Yeah. Well,
it's-
no, you don't
not
run out of
always,
breath.
but it's been problematic. The
You clam up.
Okay. I want to know. I want to know.
And I
This is
don't
the
know
place.
why.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
And we have done so many different kinds of things to try to because it's mental. Because there are times where I do it and it's fine, and then there are some other times where all of a sudden it's like I fall short, and.
But that's been a blessing. The fact that you've struggled with one particular note, I don't really know why.
Yeah.
But it's good that you've struggled with that one note because it's given us the opportunity to explore different ways to overcome the obstacle. And a handful of ways have worked.
Right.
You use them.
Yes.
And it's just they're in there. They're in your
Right.
Rolodex.
Right.
And if you have that instance in the future, you can refer back to those thoughts and those exercises and those physical things that we've done in the past and point them in another direction.
Very true.
And then it's there.
Very true.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about building up that, like I said, that Rolodex of different techniques and styles and songs and back pocket things that you can
Yes.
take out when you need them.
Yes, that's one thing that you've helped me do is build my little Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
it.
Of tools.
Yeah.
To to use depending on is my especially there was, I think it was 2 years ago, I had a big show coming up and I had no voice.
Yeah.
I had gotten a really bad cold.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you told me just, don't talk, don't speak, don't sing.
No.
Just save it all for, the show.
Vocal rest.
Yeah.
Lots of water.
Yeah.
Again. Tea, hot liquids, hot showers. Anything that will produce steam. That's always good. The winter time in general is a difficult time for singers.
Absolutely.
Because everything gets so dry.
Yeah.
It pulls all the moisture out. And we need to constantly feel like we're replacing that.
And one tip you gave me, which I think a lot of singers should try this tip or keep it in mind. If you feel a note is starting to go downhill, cut it off.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
You can always go back and try it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are circumstances where you can't if you're performing.
Yeah.
But even if you're performing, if you're singing a note and it's this big belty final note and you feel like the wheels are going to come off, stop the note,
Right.
but add some kind of flourish at the end.
Right.
So it makes it seem intentional.
Exactly.
Right? Again, that kind of circles back to what we were talking about earlier with facial expression.
Yes.
If you feel like you're starting to lose yourself, don't lose your face.
Right.
Keep your face in it. You are performing.
Never let them see you sweat.
Exactly. That's it.
Oh,
Don't
very
let them
true.
see you think.
Right, right.
If they can see you think,
Yes.
then the secret's out. The
Absolutely.
plot goes away.
Right.
The veil is, it's the man behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. Don't let them see the man behind the curtain.
Yes.
Or the-
never. Or the
woman
or
behind
the
the
man behind the woman behind the curtain. Or the man, as I said, as I
Yeah.
described you now.
The
you're
man behind the woman
The man
behind
behind the voice, behind the man, behind the woman.
A Russian doll.
Oh, I love Russian dolls. Oh my, yes. So good. Oh, I'm glad we discussed my strengths, my weaknesses. The first time you saw me in drag,
Yeah.
we don't really do this anymore. But the difference between instructing me for choral music as opposed to solos. What do you think was the difference?
Flexibility.
Flexibility.
Yeah, when we're working on choral music, and when I'm working on choral music in general,
In
or
general, yeah.
if I have a student who's pursuing something like NISMA, which is the annual adjudication process for students performing in a solo instrument, there's very rigid requirements.
Right.
There is not a lot of flexibility. When you're performing in an ensemble, you have your vocal part and you have to stick to your vocal part.
Right.
There is no deviation
Right.
to one side or the other because it might sound better.
Right.
When you're performing by yourself, the world is our oyster.
Right.
We can modify songs in a way that best suits you to bring out all of those strengths to create the best possible performance. In an ensemble, that's the director's job.
Right.
The director will bring out the best performance out of the group as a whole, and everybody
Right.
kind of has to chip in and do their part.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if one person out of the group starts, doing a run, it's like
It's going to stick out a
it's
little
gonna
bit.
stick out.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Yeah. Not a good thing to do.
Not a good move.
No, definitely not. So, but
Part of the bigger picture.
yes. So I asked you before, like songs you most would like to work on with me. So you're definitely singing jazz, like a jazzier.
As a style, I
a
just love it
style?
so much. I love it so much. And a lot of when I'm choosing songs for students, I like for the process to be collaborative because I with you and with all of my other vocal students, I don't want to give you things that you don't want to perform, that you
Right.
don't want to sing, that don't make you personally happy. But I also want to get some of my influence in there too.
Of course.
And I love jazz so much. It's hard for me to nail down a specific song because when I do that process, when I think about songs for you, it'll take me 2 or 3 days, and I'll whittle it down from like 25 to 30 songs, and we'll pare it down to like 3 or 4 that I feel like might work for your tone. For your style, for a particular style that we're going for in a
Right.
given performance.
Right.
So it's just, it's doing a lot of searching. It's listening to a lot of other performers sing a particular song. I like to do my research. I like to do my research.
You do. You do. You really do.
It helps.
Yes. And like I say, you've been instrumental in these past years in helping me develop, my act. Really.
It's my pleasure. It's my
So
pleasure. It's a lot of
it's like-
fun.
Oh, I'm glad it's been
Yeah.
fun. I'm sure it's like, I had asked you before, like, when you tell people that, yeah, one of my students is a singing drag queen. I mean, what is the reaction that you get?
There's always an element of surprise. But it quickly fades. It's oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's when you teach voice, you need to be fluid. You need to be able to think on your feet, change on a dime, and have fun. My goodness. I get to sit down and play piano and hear people sing for a job. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Well, they say when you do what you love for a living, you're not really working.
No, I don't work. I don't work. I make music. That's not work. That's fun.
Right.
You know, it's
I know.
the best.
I couldn't imagine my life without
yeah.
music.
I'm already looking forward to our lesson tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. So, well, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. And are you currently accepting students?
Not at the moment.
I think you're full right now, right?
Yeah.
See, this
The
is how
roster's full.
Good he is, people. He's so good.
The roster's
He's
full. I'm very
completely full.
lucky. It makes scheduling makeup lessons a little difficult.
Yes.
But the roster's full. Very
Wow.
lucky. Yeah.
Yes, because otherwise I would have wanted to advertise you, but you're full up. You're full up. Well, if the time comes that you do ever need students, you have to let me know, and I will let everyone know.
I will absolutely do that.
I will be more than happy to do that. So, but no other drag queens. I'm the only drag queen that you get to teach. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. But again, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
On my little Talking Toni radio show. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in to listen. And be sure to tune in. You'll know where to find me. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I'll be seeing you real soon. Good night. Twilly-dilly-dee, twilly-dilly-dee, twilly-dilly-dee. Tweet, 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 tweet. She talks to the people all night long, chatting and a-gabbing and a-singing her song. All the divas down on Rainbow Street love to hear Toni go tweet, tweet, tweet. Talking Toni. Tweet, tweet, talking Toni. Tweet, tweet, oh, Talking Toni gonna talk tonight.